So it's really an educational deterrence effect that we do all this. As I say, there's always a rationale, and that's why I survived 15 years with Amnesty International, Civil Liberties Union, the Justice Department, the opponents, the activists. So if you do the job right, and you can get by with it without all this heat.
Well, that's a good point, and it's a question I want to touch on a little bit more because it seems miraculous, one, to have a sheriff that does his job, enforces the law, but it seems also equally miraculous that we're in a culture that we're at where doing the right thing is almost treated as a crime, where everyone is using this moral relativism and really want to make no more black and white, right and wrong, that you survive. And I think you do it by being following the letter of the law. Now, your folks that work on the chain gangs, they volunteer for that work. Is that right?
Yeah, they're all convicted. They volunteer. The reason they're on a chain gang, I'm going to give you the official version again.
Okay.
Then the unofficial. The fact is that they violate our policies in the tents. We put them in lockdown with 2 or 3 others. The only way they're going to get out is volunteer for the chain gang.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're not going to put people that have been convicted for a crime and then they violate our policies and then put them on the streets,
right,
cleaning trash and other work. For security reasons, we hook them together. So if they escape, they all have to escape at one time. That is the official version. The unofficial version, I use them like my Hollywood seconds. I can't go out and hire Hollywood seconds actors. I use the inmates as actors and actresses to give a point when they're on the street to the public that if you do something wrong, you're going to end up on a chain gang. So, and they all buy into it. I let them know what they're doing for our kids. Maybe they may save one life. A lot of them go through our drug prevention program, Alpha. When you look at the 4,000 that have graduated,
mm-hmm,
only about 15% have come back. Recidivism is usually 60, 70% across the nation.
Wow.
Including here.
That's very good. And, coming back to that topic of immigration, you had a hotline that you set up, and I'm looking, and folks that watched the video of our interview with Sheriff Joe Arpaio are able to actually see what I'm looking at. But I'm looking at the signs that says, "Help Sheriff Joe Arpaio fight illegal immigration." You have a contact number, and it says, "Do not illegally enter," and use this so citizens that are seeing immigration violations can contact their sheriff's department. And you took a lot of heat for doing that, but I can't. Is all that accurate? Do you guys have those signs and everything? Those signs where people can contact.
Yes. We put signs on all our transport vehicles that transport prisoners.
Okay.
Isn't that ironic? I'm sure we're transporting some illegals, but I want the whole public. We've got about 4,000 calls over that hotline. Some have led to arrests on smugglers. We have a lot of complaints about employers. We have a new law out, employer sanction, where you can take their license away. We haven't found anybody that falls within the law yet. So we enforce all aspects of the illegal immigration laws, regardless of the governor, the mayors, and everybody going after me, trying to take my money away and making stupid remarks about me and everything else, along with demonstrators saying I'm a KKK member,
yeah,
me on posters with Hitler.
Right.
You can go on and on and on. They follow me around, these demonstrators. A lot of them are hooked up to elected officials, Hispanic, that don't like what I'm doing. The mayor of Phoenix has asked for an investigation against me. He's in the process probably of being recalled. He doesn't like me coming into Phoenix enforcing the illegal immigration laws.
I'm amazed by that one, Joe, because I understand with the ACLU and that kind of ilk, they are such an anti-American group. They're always fighting every kind of pro-American policy. But when I look at like the mayor of Phoenix, I'm wondering what could possibly be going on in his head. They should be giving you a key to the city, thanking you for, in the long term, reducing their crime, reducing their the cost to their infrastructure. What is their logic for giving you such a hassle?
Well, I'm going to tell you the bottom line on all this illegal immigration from the presidential candidate on down with all these politicians. By the way, all these people that are against me, the mayor, the governor, they're all it's funny, they're all Democrats. Yeah. I wouldn't say this is a political situation, but It's interesting. Everybody's gone after me, all these elected officials.
Oh, yeah.
All Democrats. Well, let me say this.
Hell of a coincidence. Go ahead, Joe.
Why they don't want to do anything. It's because they do not want to aggravate the Hispanic community, worry about the Hispanic vote. But what they don't understand, a high percentage of Hispanics here legally support what we do. They do not support illegal immigration. But these politicians don't understand that, other than the fact that they don't want to aggravate the business community either by enforcing the illegal immigration and get rid of all their workers. They don't want that either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very complex problem. And most politicians, all they do is worry about the vote. Now, I got about 35% Hispanics live in this county. I'm not worried about the vote. They don't want to vote for me, that's okay. But we're going to keep doing the job.
Absolutely. And, you know, Joe, you've got a couple books out that I've heard many positive comments on. You've got a book called America's Toughest Sheriff, How We Can Win the War Against Crime. You've got a DVD called The America's Toughest Sheriff, and Joe's Law, America's Toughest Sheriff, talks about illegal immigration. And people can find those books at Amazon.com and all of your major book outlets for the convenience of our Conscience of Kansas Radio listeners. We have your books linked at our master website of Superior Conservative Values at www.ibbetsonusa.com. And I see those books, Sheriff Joe, as sort of the blueprint of how what you do could be repeated. Do you believe that's possible?
Yeah.
Do you believe that other sheriff's offices could do what you do, like in other states?
Yeah, I think they could. By the way, I have a website, sheriffjoe.org. She lost England, I guess, the satellite, but they're going to call back. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I'd rather talk to you than England. I talk to them all the time.
Well, I tell you what, we're very happy to talk to you, and we know you're a man in demand. And I tell you what I think, Joe, is that every sheriff's office ought to model your philosophy. To me, you do a lot of innovative things, but you also do a lot of bread and butter things, like simply enforcing the law, simply asking citizens, the eyes of your counties, to say, look, if you see something illegal, call us and we'll enforce the law. And when your sheriffs actually do that, people will call you because they'll...
You know what? I took an oath of office, Paul, to enforce all the laws. I have compassion for the Mexican people, having
Absolutely.
lived in Mexico and dealt with the president, attorney general, so on.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? When you violate the law, compassion has to go aside, and you have to enforce the laws. A lot of politicians that took an oath of office don't understand that.
Yeah, I know. I know what you're talking about. And actually, secure borders are a compassionate action. In the long term, that's a very compassionate action. And you have to make a lot of hard decisions. It's not like Burger King. It's not, the customer's not always right, and they don't always get their way right away. And we ought to have more sheriffs like you with the backbone and the vision, just the direction to do what they ought to do. And let's see. Let me get that website out again. You have what was your website you had, Joe?
SheriffJoe.org.
Okay. SheriffJoe.org. You can also, folks, go to their sheriff's office website at www.mcso.org. You can find Sheriff Joe's books in many places, Amazon.com, but you can find them right on our website at www.ibbetsonusa.com. Sheriff Joe, America's Toughest Sheriff, How We Can Win the War Against Crime. Joe's Law, America's Toughest Sheriff on Illegal Immigration, and the DVD, America's Toughest Sheriff. What new things are we going to see out of Maricopa County from you, Joe? Do you have any new projects in the works?
Well, quite frankly, after 16 years, it's tough to come up with some new ideas. I think I've taken everything away from the inmates, but I'm going to have to now publicize everything we have done.
Mm-hmm.
Like saving all the millions of dollars for the cheap food. But the papers and the media doesn't print that because it makes me look good. Right. So that's why I wrote that recent book. That book just came out, Joe's Law. I get into politics, talk about McCain. I talk about the news media because nobody will tell it like it is. I have to write a book to get the word out. Isn't that a shame?
It's a terrible shame. And it tells you the state that we're in as a country with our politicians, that people are weak-minded and weak on fighting crime. Very good, Joe. We appreciate your time.
I really appreciate you calling me. Where are you at? Kansas what, Missouri?
We're in Manhattan, Kansas, the Little Apple.
Which Kansas?
Manhattan, Kansas. Yeah, that's right.
Really? That's a great state.
Kansas State University.
Yeah, well, what a great place.
Sheriff Joe, we appreciate your time. We'll let you go. You're welcome back anytime on our program.
Thank you for having me, Paul.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we just finished speaking with Joe Arpaio. He is the sheriff of Maricopa County. He is probably the toughest sheriff in America when it comes to backbone, when it comes to doing what's right.